Hello and welcome back to Tech and EduSpark Hub, where technology meets education. What if I told you that your computer can roll dice, shuffle cards, or even pick lottery numbers for you all in just a few lines of Python code? Stick with me to the end and I will show you how the random module can be unpredictable and add fun to your programs. Now that we have a new project file, let's create a new writing block of code in our project file by naming it the title of this lesson. So all you just have to do here is to right click on this project. And once you right click, you click on new. And once you click on new, you click on Python file. And once you click on Python file, you can name it the title of this lesson. And I'll be naming it the random module. And once you are done, you can just double click on the Python file. And once you double click on it, you should have something like this in your project file. Firstly, let's understand what a module is in Python. In Python, a module is simply a file that contains a ready-made code functions, variables, or classes that you can use to save time. Instead of writing everything from scratch, you can just import the module and use its tools. For example, Python has inbuilt module like the math module, the date time, and as well as today's focus, which is the random module. And to use the module, all we just have to do is to import the module we want to work with. And to do this, we can just simply type the keyword import. And in our case, we are working with the random module. So we can just simply type the word random. So in this case, we have imported the random module. Notice how the text goes blank because we have just imported the module. And we will have to tap into the functions of this module. So to import a module, all you just have to do is to type the word import and the module you want to work with. So in our case, we are using the word import random. So under this random class, we'll be looking at three methods for today's video. And the first one is the random.random, which returns a random floating point number between 0 and 1. So when you have something like random.random, it only returns a decimal numbers between the number 0 and 1. And the second one, which is the random.uniform, it returns a floating point number between a given range of A and B, which means you have to pass a range in that random.uniform. You can pass a range of 1.5 to 5.5 in this random.uniform method. And notice how I'm writing the random.random. You can see there is a bracket at the back of this code because this is a method under the class random. And the last one, we have the random.randit, which returns a random number between a given range of integers A and B. So in this random.randit, as the name implies, random.rand integer. So that's the function of the int at the back of the rand. So this random.randit, it returns a number between a given range of A and B. You can decide to pass a random number of 1 to 10 in this random.randit, and it will return a random number between the number 1 to 10, including 1 and 10. And these are the methods we'll be learning today under this random class. First of all, let's look at the random.random. We don't need to pass any input in this random.random because it only returns a random floating number between the number 0 and 1. Let's say we have a variable called float number and we assign it with an equal sign to the random.random function. Notice how I put the brackets at the back of this random.random function because this is a method under the class random. So whenever you are writing a method under a class, you have to put the brackets at the back of the method. So this way, let's print the float number. And when we run this code, you can see it gives a random number between 0 and 1. And when we keep running it, you can see the random number changes. And this is the work of the random.random function. Secondly, we have the random.uniform, which returns a floating point number between a given range A and B. And to use this, let's say we have a variable called number, and we assign it with an equal sign to the random.uniform function. But we said the random.uniform returns a floating point number between a given range A and B. So we can simply pass the range we want to these lines of code. So in my case, let me just pass the range 1.5 to 5.5. And to write this, you can just write the 1.5, 5.5, and this will automatically put the range A and B for you. You can see we have two range in this random.uniform, which the first range is 1.5 and the second range is 5.5. So this random.uniform is expected to return a random number between the range 1.5 to 5.5. And we can print the variable number. And when we run this code, you can see it returns a number between the range of 1.5 to 5.5. And when we keep running this code, you can see the number changes. And the number won't exceed the range we put in this random.uniform, which is the range 1.5 to 5.5. You can decide to put different range that you want, but in my case, I'm just using the 1.5 to 5.5 for an example. And this is how the random.uniform works. And lastly, we have the random.transit, which returns a number between a given range of integers a and b. So to use this, let's say we have a variable called random integer, and we assign it with an equal sign to this random.transit function. And we said it returns a random integer between the range a and b. So in this random.transit, we are expected to pass an integer in this function. So in my case, I'll be passing the range 1 to 10 in this random.transit. So when I put the 1 to 10, and you can see when I input the range I want, you can see it automatically assign the a and b to this range, which means it is going to return a random number between the range 1 and 10, including the number 1 and the number 10. So it includes the range a and b in this random.transit. So it will only return a random number between the range we pass in this function. So you can decide to put any range you want, but I'll be using the 1 to 10 range as an example. So when we print random integer, and when I run this code, you can see it returns a random number between the number 1 and 10. And when I keep running this code, you can see it returns a random integer between the 1 and 10, and it is including the upper range and the lower range. So you can play around this code by running it, and you see it will keep returning a random number between the range you pass in this function. And this is how the random.transit works. And that is the power of the Python's random module. It makes your code unpredictable, stimulates experiments, or even lets you make games or even pick a winner in a contest. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe to Tech and EduSpark Hub, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next Python tutorial. And in our next lesson, we'll be writing a coin flip program where we'll be checking for the head or tail using the Python module, and drop a comment below telling me how you plan to use the random module. I'd love to read your ideas, and I will see you in the next one.